RESPECT, respecting the limits of your space. You don't need more storage space. You need Janine Bryant of Changing Spaces, SRS. She's here for you this morning on Easy Rightsizing. Good morning, Janine.
Good morning, Dale. Thank you. That was such a compliment. I love it.
Well, you can't go wrong with a little Aretha Franklin reference with respect, and that is what we will talk about, respecting the limits of space. If a person doesn't need more storage space, what do they need?
You need less stuff.
Less stuff.
You know, that is a hard message sometimes for folks to hear, and it's a hard message to deliver sometimes. And, you know, we would all love to have more storage space, but if we're going to live in the reality of whatever house or whatever living situation, apartment or townhome that we have in the moment, then we're going to need to adjust the amount of stuff that we have to reflect the amount of storage space that we have. You know, we right here in Nebraska, we're probably actually blessed with fairly large living spaces. You think about folks who live in New York City and they pay an arm and a leg for even a one-bedroom apartment and those teeny tiny closets that they have. So again, it's all about perspective and how much space you really need. And when at Changing Spaces SRS, we help seniors who are downsizing and moving. And so they are downsizing usually out of a larger home, and they're going to a retirement community. And, you know, usually it's a one-bedroom apartment or a two-bedroom apartment. And they may be moving out of a 2,000-square-foot home. So they, by that very transition, they are limited to the amount of stuff that they can bring. And that can be hard. And oftentimes I think people don't choose to go through their stuff and downsize or right-size their belongings until they're forced to. But my message to all of our listeners out there is that even if you're not planning to downsize to a smaller home or an apartment, you can go through this right-sizing process now. And one way that you can do that, and I want to encourage listeners, is to respect the limits of your space. We can all bemoan the size of our closets and our master bedrooms and wish we had more space. But, you know, unless we're ready to call the contractor and spend the money and put an addition onto our house so that we can have more stuff, we need to just live in the reality of our situation and respect the limits of our space. So we don't need more storage space. We need less stuff.
Here's my advice. I would go to easyrightsizing.com if you missed last week's conversation. That's centered on closets, limited space, exactly what we're talking about here today. So easyrightsizing.com, not only last week's conversation, but conversations from previous weeks. They are so valuable if you've missed them on the air Sunday mornings. All right, Janine, respecting space. What are some of the ways that we can limit space for ourselves?
Yep. So, you know, sometimes placing a limit on ourselves is a really helpful tool. And we do this all the time. You know, I've got two little kids. We place limits on our kids all the time, right? After dinner, we don't just give them the whole box of cookies and say, go at it. We say, you can have one or two cookies. And so we need to put a limit on ourselves as well as far as our stuff. Because there's no parents living with us telling us how much stuff we can have, so we've got to do that work for ourselves. And so we have to set limits, even if they're artificial limits, for ourselves in certain categories to keep the clutter from becoming completely overwhelming in our home. So I've got some suggestions for different categories of items. Last week we talked about cleaning out your closet. And one way in my own home that I have set a limit for myself is I decided a few years ago that I am no longer buying any more hangers ever for the rest of my life, okay? I've got some heavy-duty plastic hangers. They're not going to wear out in the next 60, 70, 80 years. I've got plenty of time with them, and there's no reason for me to buy any more throughout the rest of my life because the amount of hangers that I have fit in my closet perfectly fine, and it's a great visual cue for me to when I go into my closet after a day of shopping or if I've ordered something online and it comes in the mail, I go to hang it up, and boy, if I am running out of hangers, that is a great reminder to me that it might be time for me to either A, start shopping, or B, continue to shop, but I need to get rid of some of my less my least favorite clothes in the closet, right? So it's setting a limit for the amount of clothes that are hanging in the closet. You could do the same thing with dresser drawers. If maybe you've decided that your limit on a dresser drawer is however much can fit in there while you can still easily open and close the drawers. Okay, if you can no longer open and close a dresser drawer, or really a desk drawer in your office, or any other kind of drawer in your home, then that's a sign that you need to go through and get rid of some of the things in that drawer. Another category of items that people struggle with a lot of times is books. So here's my secret for setting a limit for yourself for how many books you can have, is simply limiting yourself to however many bookcases you have space for in your home. If you have space for 6 bookcases in your home, then that's how many books you can have. If you have to start piling those books up on the floor or in a closet, or maybe something that we see a lot is 2 layers of books on a bookcase. So there's one in the back that you can't even see, and then there's a double layer in front of it. If that's your situation, that's a great cue that you've got too many books in your house. Kitchenwares, just take a look at those kitchen cupboards and the kitchen drawers. And if every time you open them, it feels like things are just going to fall out at you, or it's a struggle to put the clean dishes away after they come out of the dishwasher because everything is so jammed, crammed full, that's another example. That's another sign to you that you've got too much stuff. Another limit that I have placed on myself in my own home is that of Christmas decor. I've got one spot in my home that I've designated for the Christmas decorations. It's in my basement underneath the stairs. It's not a huge closet, but I've just decided that's where the Christmas decorations are going to be. And when that closet is full, boy, then I really have to think twice about going to Hobby Lobby or any of these other stores at holiday time and picking up another holiday decoration, because I know that my storage space that's designated for those holiday decorations is full. So I really don't need to be adding to it. And if I do want to add to it, then I need to be culling out some of my lesser items in that category. Another limit that you can place on yourself is if you're dealing with keepsakes. Maybe these are keepsakes of a loved one who has passed away. If you have a parent or a grandparent or someone close to you that has recently passed away, it's fallen on you to sort through their home and select out the items that you're going to be keeping. Setting a limit for yourself can really help make that process a lot more calm and streamlined and direct. So if you tell yourself that you can keep 5 boxes of items from your grandmother's house as you are sorting through, it helps you set priorities and keep only the favorite items that will fit in 5 boxes worth. Whereas if you don't set a limit for yourself, that's how you end up with an entire garage full of keepsakes from someone's home, or your entire basement is taken over by those keepsakes. So respecting the limits of your space and putting limits on yourself can really give you a sense of control over all of your stuff. Another category where people tend to have a lot of clutter is the garage. And maybe the limit that you place on yourself is that you have to have at least one garage stall free for you to park your car. Or if you have a 3-stall garage, maybe you have to have at least 2 spots where you can park 2 cars. And maybe for you, exceeding that limit looks like having so much stuff in your garage that you can no longer park in there. So again, I'm not going to tell you what those limits should be. I just want to encourage you to set your own limits for the clutter areas in your life, and it will help you to feel more in control of all of that stuff, and help you to not to feel that the stuff is in control over you. It's the other way around. And so that's always my message, is that you get to decide what that limit is. And once you decide, you need to respect that limit. And then you will never really have a clutter problem for the rest of your life.
Then we turn to storage units. For some people, maybe the items are too big, but they want to keep them. Maybe there is a place, I'm guessing, in your opinion, for storage units.
Yeah, again, as long as you're going into it with your eyes wide open. I was reading the other day, the average cost of a typical storage unit in the United States is about $88 a month. So that's over $1,000 a year. And you just need to decide, is it worth it to you to store this stuff or this item that apparently is not enough of a priority to keep in your own home, but you want to have it at an off-site storage location, okay? There might be a place and a time for a storage unit for a short time. A long-term storage unit, I tell you, is never the answer. So a couple months maybe, but if we're creeping up towards a year or more, chances are you would be better off just letting go of that stuff.
Keep the memories, not the clutter. That is the name of a chapter inside Janine's book, Ready to Right Size, a step-by-step guide to your right-sizing journey for older adults and their loved ones. How can someone get the book, Janine?
Absolutely. They can give us a call at Changing Spaces SRS, our office here in Lincoln. That number is 402-483-0555. You can also order it on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon.com and search for Ready to Right Size, it will come up and you can order it right there. It'll be delivered to your front door.
For more on Janine's services, check out ChangingSpacesSRS.com. You can learn more about Janine's professional services in the Lincoln area and to listen to podcasts and get some right-sizing tips. Videos are there, resources are there at EasyRightsizing.com. Valuable info, and we're here every Sunday morning on KFOR. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Dale.